Last week we mentioned we would tell you what plants you can grow in your room. Well, here's a potted mum with wheat, or Chrysanthemo and Maceta contrejo, as it is known in its native country. Pretty easy to grow in your room.
That sounds very exotic. Well, last week, Stephen chatted with Lester Holt from the Today Show. Here's our exclusive interview.
Hello, Mr. Holt. My name is Stephen Lee. I'm with University of Tampa Television, and it is an honor to have you here at University of Tampa. So,
thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. Let me ask you, how are you liking Tampa so far?
So far, I'd never been to Tampa before. When I was flying down here Thursday, I travel a lot of the world. And I realized I don't think I've ever been to Tampa, and I got off the plane and realized I hadn't. It's gorgeous. I love the bay. I love the weather. The food has been good, and people have been treating me right. So that's all good.
In the Today Show, you guys did a segment about Florida's really weird news segments that come from the state of Florida. What is your favorite news story that's ever come out of Florida?
Oh my goodness, my favorite news story that's come out of Florida. Well, I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me, but as a newsman, I felt the 2000 election recount was probably the most interesting story I've ever covered. To have an election coming out of 500 votes, to have the whole recount drama and the court drama. I know it put a lot of stress on a lot of people, a lot of anxiety, but as a journalist, it was an incredible story and still my favorite story that I've ever covered.
I know it was like, who won? No one knows.
It was the most bizarre night. I remember going home that night after working the election coverage. I'm like, I'm going to bed and we don't know who won this race. And we may not know tomorrow, we may not know the next day. It was beyond bizarre.
Yeah, like, it's so important. Let's see what else. Your show today talked a lot about first-time voting. What was your first time voting?
My first time voting was in, it would have been, let's see, the Reagan-Carter race. So the 1980 election. I had to think for a second. Yeah, that would have been my first election. And that was a big one, That was, the country was going through a lot of things with the Iranian hostage crisis, and the Carter administration had been through some rough times, and Reagan came on, promising a new era. It was a pretty exciting time.
We also have a lot of journalism and writing majors here. What would be your advice to them?
My advice is, I always tell young journalists, whether they're doing broadcast or certainly print, is writing is the most important thing we do. The ability to express, the story in a concise kind of a way while maintaining balance and perspective. That's the most important thing. And then read, and read some more. You want to observe what's out there. If you're going to be in broadcasting, watch. I always tell people, the best way to learn what we do is just watch. That's what I did. I watched those broadcasters who, for some reason, really communicated to me, that really somehow struck me as great communicators, and I try to study them and find out why they're so good. Why is it that they're engaging me? And then I try to kind of, apply those things, and eventually I kind of became my own, broadcaster. But really just kind of keeping your eyes open and trying to understand what makes for great communications.
Do you like having a heart attack? How about a stroke? Kevin has the scoop about the Spartan 5K.
Guys, I'm here with Mary Lee. Mary Lee ran in the Spartan Challenge 5K. Tell me about it.
It was really good. It was a 5K obstacle course with three different types of obstacles, and then you did them twice, so it's really cool.
That's cool. What kind of obstacles were they?
First, you started with jumping over barrels of hay, and then you had a sand crawl, army crawl thing, which was the hardest, and then tires, and then you went back and did the first two again.
Interesting. So how did you do in the Spartan 5K?
I ran with one of my suite mates. We did okay. We did pretty well. We beat our time from last year by about a minute, and then we beat our time, but I thought it was a lot harder than last year.
That's cool. Congratulations on taking part in the challenge.
Looks like it was a great race. Thanks, Kevin. Plant Hall is famous for its creepy turn-of-the-century decorum, and many think it's haunted. I had a chance to tour the old hotel.
Is it haunted?
No, it's actually really quite lovely.
Oh, okay.
I'm Natalie Hicks, and we're here in Plant Hall.
There are many, many rumors and stories that this building is haunted. Because it's an old hotel, there may be a lot of spirits roaming the hallways. I'm about to investigate. On the 4th level of Plant Hall, there are plenty of mysterious doors, just like this one, all over the building. I don't know where they lead, but they might be the homes of many, many ghosts. Let's find out. I'm gonna try to call to the ghosts and see if I get a response. I don't think anyone's home. Okay, so I heard a legend that there's a ghost named George that lives in the 4th floor of Plant Hall. I'm gonna perform a seance to try to call to George. Let's see if this works. Oh. Do you hear that? It's the devil's music. George? Is that you? Let's go investigate. George. I think it was just like a glitch in the light or something. I don't think there's really a ghost. Here is the elevator in Plant Hall. It kind of has a creepy vibe, just like the elevator in the Tower of Terror. I wonder if there's a ghost inside. Let's find out. I'm just gonna pop my head in and see what's going on. Oh, I think I just felt the presence of a ghost. This is a little creepy for me. Let's get out of here. Well, I don't think we had much luck finding any ghosts. I think people were lying when they said this place is haunted. It's just a really old building with a lot of creepy doors and little hideaways. And that's all I gotta say about that.
Well, that's all that we have for tonight. Join us next week where we'll be discussing what other shenanigans are happening at our school and in the Tampa Bay area. I'm Nolan Tajin.
And I'm Natalie Hicks.
Have a fun and safe Halloween. Good night, everybody.